The premier endurance sports car racing championship in North America features the bravest drivers and the most famous automotive brands tackling the continent's toughest races. Today on IMSA, The Road to Racing, we look back on the 12 weekends of exciting racing spread out over the 4 classes in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. And we also flash back and relive all the action of the 2019 IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. So, fasten your seatbelts because it's time to go sports car racing. I've got that lightning inside me, son of a god. I'm like a titan that's rising on 2019 marked 50 years of IMSA sports car racing here in North America. 50 years of motor racing's greatest teams partnering with the most well-known and successful manufacturers and constructors of automobiles on Earth. Throw in the biggest names in racing piloting the cars over the last 50 years, giving us the most breathtaking moments year after year, and that gave everyone plenty to celebrate looking back on the history in 2019. From Daytona Beach in January to Georgia in October, the teams and drivers in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge raced their way across North America, entertaining fans all around the world. The racing was close, the action was intense, and there was excitement around every single corner in every lap all season long of 2019. Despite the rain and the race ending underneath the red flag, the pure emotion of winning the sport's biggest race was not missing in Gatorade Victory Lane when the number 10 Konica Minolta Cadillac DPI arrived. It was the team's second Rolex victory at Daytona in the last 3 years. The 57th running of the Rolex 24 at Daytona was a battle of survival and speed, but none did a better job than the team drivers Jordan Taylor, Renger van der Zande, Mui Kobayashi, and Fernando Alonso. All of Latin America stood proud during the Rolex 24 thanks to Le Mans P2 team Dragon Speed. Sebastian Saavedra joined the drivers Roberto Gonzalez, Ryan Cullen, and Pastor Maldonado to win with a 3-lap advantage in the category. At Belle Isle in Detroit this past June, Dane Cameron and Juan Montoya continued their winning streak, beating General Motors at home where they've been successful for so many years. Detroit was Montoya's 5th victory in IMSA competition, which he scored from the pole position, while for Dane Cameron it was his 14th victory of his IMSA career. Porsche obtained their 5th consecutive victory in the GT Le Mans class at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in July. The drivers responsible for this record were the duo of Earl Bamber and Lawrence Vanthoor. This series of triumphs beat the previous mark of 4 victories in a row that Corvette Racing had earned in 2014, and for Jip Ganassi Racing in 2018. Porsche also had won 4 consecutive races back in 2015. After almost 7 years without a trip to victory lane for Mazda since Road America in 2012, it took the Japanese manufacturer 7 days to win twice, first at Watkins Glen and then a week later at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Something happened in the 2-hour and 40-minute Michelin GT Challenge at Virginia International Raceway that has never happened before in the history of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. In the GT Le Mans category, the Porsche GT team dominated with their 2 cars, the 911 and the 912, and scored a truly impressive 1-2 finish. History was made in the GT Daytona category at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta this fall. On the day of his 51st birthday, Bill Oberlin and his co-drivers claimed the victory in the 10-hour season-ending race. This victory was enough to match Scott Pruitt's record of 60 IMSA victories for Bill Oberlin. The premier class of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship began 2019 with a sensational Rolex 24 at Daytona. A spectacular test which had great drawbacks due to inclement weather. Heavy rain generated risky situations and many yellow flags. The victory was celebrated in the end by the Konica Minolta Wayne Taylor Racing Team with its stars Jordan Taylor, Renger van der Zande, Kamui Kobayashi, and Fernando Alonso. The next battle of 2019 in DPI was the 12 Hours of Sebring. Round 2 of the season also saw difficult weather conditions to start the day. After a hard battle late into the night, victory belonged to the Whelan Engineering Racing Team, led by drivers Felipe Nasr, Eric Curran, and Pippo Durrani. In the streets of Long Beach, California, where mistakes are not easily forgiven, there was great risk around every corner. Capitalizing on that risk was the Mustang Sampling Racing Team. At Mid-Ohio, the sun began to shine for Roger Penske's team. The number 6 Acura Team Penske DPI got their first victory of the season and began a roll of podium finishes that would last throughout the summer. On Belle Isle in Detroit, the narrow streets once again challenged all of the DPI teams, but just as they did at Mid-Ohio, Montoya and Cameron returned to collect their second checkered flag of the year. At Watkins Glen, the summer really began to heat up. Felipe Nasr's Cadillac was in trouble, and an intense battle between Acura and Mazda went late into the race. But in the end, it was finally Mazda Team Yost ending a near 7-year winless drought. And just 7 days later at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Ontario, Mazda returned with enough speed to be invincible and claim their second straight victory. But the party wasn't over yet. At Road America, the fight between the Acura and the Mazda resumed. A last lap battle between the two Japanese brands went for the third time to Mazda. But in Laguna Seca, the legendary California circuit, it was Montoya and Cameron who would reclaim the top spot, giving them a healthy championship lead. In the 2019 season finale, the Motul Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, the race went to the team of Felipe Nasr, but the championship trophy was already in the hands of Roger Penske, Acura, and their drivers Juan Montoya and Dane Cameron.
No, la verdad, muy contento. Sí, la verdad, hace rato no me ganan un campeonato por todo lo que he corrido y me he movido y todo. En Indy quedamos empatados por el campeonato hace unos años y pues por victorias perdimos el campeonato y fue muy doloroso. La verdad, muy contento de poder seguir ganando carreras y campeonatos, para haber podido ganar con Acura. Este año fue muy especial y con toda la gente de Penske, y pues ojalá el próximo año podamos volver acá y con muy buenos resultados otra vez.
It's incredibly special for me to get my third championship here in IMSA, and to do it for Roger Penske is even more special. For me, it's first opportunity to be, really closely tied to a manufacturer with Acura. So really proud of how that's played out, the development that we've done over the last 2 years to get here, and it really feels a little bit different because I feel like last year we didn't do such a great job at a lot of times. Really reflected over the off season and really had a plan this year of what we wanted to do, how we were going to do it. So it's such a great feeling to know that it actually kind of went to plan and we didn't totally go off the rails anywhere. So it's just nice to have a plan and really just come all together. Really fun to share a car with Juan Pablo, Simon as well. So yeah, just couldn't have gone any better, and incredibly proud to have done this for Acura, Team Penske, and everyone involved. So again, thanks to all the guys, everybody at HPD for making it possible for us.
The GT Le Mans class undoubtedly had an exciting and competitive season throughout all of 2019, featuring 4 of the most well-known automotive brands in the hands of the best GT racers in the world. At the Rolex 24 at Daytona, there was plenty of drama due to the adverse weather conditions, including plenty of hair-raising moments out on track. But when the checkered flags finally flew, an outpouring of joy came from the winners on the number 25 BMW Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan team. Unfortunately, at the 12 Hours of Sebring, the problems for BMW came early, and it was the fellow German manufacturer Porsche scoring their first win of 2019. The GT Le Mans teams and their drivers then headed west to the streets of Long Beach, California. Once again, the checkered flags flew over the Porsche. This time, it was the number 912 team scoring the victory. The picture was the same at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, as both cars from the Porsche factory team ran up front, but it was the number 912 team scoring back-to-back victories. When the series began its summer stretch by visiting Watkins Glen International, the number 911 Porsche outlasted the competition over the 6-hour race and won Porsche's 4th race in a row. The following week at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the Porsche GT team kept the ball rolling, and this time the 912 car parked it first in victory lane. Lime Rock Park was the site of race number 7 of the year, but after problems early, Porsche would not score their 6th straight win. Instead, it was the first win of the season for American auto giant Ford and Chip Ganassi Racing. At Road America, despite a great fight from the number 4 Corvette Racing Chevrolet Corvette, It was the number 67 Ford GT of Richard Westbrook and Ryan Briscoe going back-to-back for their second win of the season in Wisconsin. After taking each other out early, the Corvette and Ford teams had to sit back and watch as Porsche scored their sixth win of the season. At WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, trouble for the two race winners in the number 67 Ford GT opened the door for their teammates in the number 66 Ford GT to score their first win of 2019. When the season came to a close at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, it was the bright red Ferrari from Risi Competizione scoring the win in the 10-hour classic. And locking up the GT Le Mans Championship title was Earl Bamber and Lawrence Vanthoor in the number 912 Porsche after a truly incredible 2019 season.
Yeah, it's just been an amazing achievement for us and for Porsche. It's been an incredible year. We wrapped up all the championships, manufacturer, team and drivers. It was our goal from last year or 2 years ago, and we worked hard on it together with all the team, and to have achieved this is something which is in the books, and they will never take it away from us, and will be sweet memories forever.
It's been a lifetime goal to win it, the Manufacturers' Championship for Porsche, and to take out all of the championships. Has been a phenomenal year, I think a dream year for all of us in the Porsche team. For Lawrence and myself, obviously we've worked for 2 hard years. We really focused to try and win the championship this year. It's phenomenal. I think currently IMSA is the hardest GT championship in the world to win, so it's something very special to be on top of the sports car world right now.
Racing in the GT Daytona category never disappoints and always showcases the wide range of talent at IMSA WeatherTech sports car races. The story of 2019 started with the Rolex 24 at Daytona with the triumph of the GRT Grasser Racing Lamborghini. The second stop of 2019 saw the same long race heroics played out and capitalized by the number 11 Lamborghini from GRT Grasser as they opened up the season with back-to-back victories. At Mid-Ohio in May, it was the bright yellow and black Lexus driven by Richard Heistand and Jack Hawksworth scoring the third race on the schedule. The narrow city streets of Detroit, Michigan were the next stop for GT Daytona teams, and it also happened to be the next stop in Victory Lane for Aim Vassar Sullivan as their number 12 Lexus won the 100-minute street fight on Belle Isle. The series then headed east to the historic Watkins Glen International for the Salem 6 Hours of the Glen. It was in upstate New York that the Acura NSX from Meyer Shank Racing scored their first win in 2019, thanks to Trent Hinman, Mario Farnbacher, and Justin Marks behind the wheel. A wild race at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Ontario that had plenty of contact and lots of close racing in GT Daytona saw longtime IMSA team Turner Motorsports steal the checkered flag when Robbie Foley and Bill Oberlin took their number 96 BMW across the finish line first. Racing at Lime Rock Park was hot, literally, and when the 7th race of 2019 came to a close, it was the closest finish of the year when the number 9 Porsche from Pfaff Motorsports narrowly beat the number 86 Acura in a drag race to the checkered flag. The good times didn't end in Connecticut for Pfaff Motorsports as they continued their success by dominating in Wisconsin at the series' longest track, Road America, for their second win of 2019. Intense racing amongst GT Daytona competitors took center stage in Virginia, but when the dust settled and the race was over, it was the number 33 Mercedes of Jerome Bleekemolen and Ben Keating earning their first win of the year. In the penultimate race of the season at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in California, there was a ramped-up level of intensity, and it showed. Scoring the third win of the season for Lamborghini, but the first of the year for Paul Miller Racing was the number 48 Huracan, driven by Brian Sellers and Corey Lewis. The 2019 GT Daytona season wound down with the 10 hours of racing at the Motul Petit Le Mans, where day became night, and the Turner Motorsports BMW became a 2-time winner in 2019. The season-long championship fight was awarded to the number 86 Acura from Meyer Shank Racing, thanks to Mario Farnbacher and Trent Hinman.
This was an incredible season. That's the reason why we're standing here, but it takes a lot. You know, there's a big team behind us, which we have to name, actually, in my opinion, because it's a team effort what we're doing here. It's not just us drivers, it's a big team behind us. It means a lot to win this championship. I wish we could take our complete crew onto the stage and everybody could get a trophy. And
there's no way that we would have gotten this done without all the efforts that those guys put in all the efforts that our crew put in, going over the wall, flawless pit stops every weekend, giving us a phenomenal car every single weekend.
I think why we are here now has been we've been smart over the whole season. We didn't do weird moves. We've been consistent, and I think we all have done very good races where we've been consistent, and I think that was the goal of the season.
It was a very exciting start of the season for the LMP2 category. The marquee race featured 24 hours of unpredictability as the rain-shortened race went to the Latin American drivers Sebastian Saavedra, Pastor Maldonado, Roberto Gonzalez, and the Irishman Ryan Cullen from Dragon Speed. Next up on the schedule was the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. More brutal weather to start the race led to exciting nighttime action as the clock ran out. The first LMP2 car across the bumpy start-finish line at Sebring was the number 38 from Performance Tech Motorsports. After the two endurance Florida races, stop number 3 of 2019 was the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Run under bright blue skies in the middle of Ohio, the Acura Sports Car Challenge went to the number 52 from PR1 Matheson Motorsports. A few weeks later at Watkins Glen International, after 6 hours of racing, it was the number 52 on top once again from PR1 Matheson. Across the border 7 days later at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Matthew McMurray and Dalton Kellett conquered the team's 3rd victory in a row and jumping to the 1st place in the standings. 3 victories in the first 5 races of the year, coupled with a strong second half of the season, gave McMurray and PR1 Matheson Motorsports the points they needed to keep chasing for the 2019 title, and arrived to the Motul Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta with some comfort to proclaim themselves as the new LMP2 champions in 2019.
So winning the IMSA championship for LMP2 is obviously a huge deal. IMSA and the whole IMSA paddock has been my family basically for my whole life. I've been here since I was a little boy, when my dad raced. So coming all these years and putting together a win with PR1 with Dyson Motorsports is really special. It took a lot of hard work from myself and my co-drivers, the entire team, and they all did a fantastic job, and I couldn't have done it without them.
The IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge began its 2019 season with the 4-hour BMW Endurance Challenge at Daytona. With the excitement at an all-time high in both categories, it was Honda and LA Honda World drivers Shelby Blackstock and Tom O'Gorman drawing first blood with a victory in January. The pair continued their hot streak at the second round of the season at the Sebring International Raceway, as they captured the TCR class victory in style. O'Gorman and Blackstock's manufacturer, Honda, left Sebring not only with a winner's trophy, thanks to the third-place efforts of Hart Racing. Newcomers to the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge in 2019 was Brian Herta Autosport with Curb Agajanian. The number 21 Hyundai Veloster, driven by Mason Filippi and Harry Godsacker, earned the new team their first IMSA victory at Road America in August, despite wet and wild conditions throughout the entire race. Meanwhile, in the Grand Sport category came arguably the most exciting finish of all of 2019, when the big Chevrolet Camaro from Rebel Rock Racing came storming through the lead pack on the final lap, reeling in the race leader up the hill out of the final corner. As the Compass Racing McLaren of Kuno Whitmer slowed approaching the checkered flag, it was the Camaro, driven by Robin Liddell, able to steal the victory in the last 100 feet of the race. When the season reached its end at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, the debut season for Brian Herta and his team ended with a 1-2 result in the Drivers' Championship standings in TCR. A truly impressive debut for not only the team, but also for Hyundai in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge racing.
Hi there, this is Michael Lewis and Mark Wilkins, and we're co-drivers in the number 98 Veloster and TCR with Hyundai and Brian Herta Autosport, and we're here at the IMSA Michelin Pilot Awards Banquet and we just got our trophies for first place in the Drivers' Championship. Our teammates finished second in the drivers. Our Brian Hurt Autosport team won the teams, and second manufacturers for Hyundai. So a lot of awards for our team and our manufacturer that we run with. So for those of you who don't know, we're in TCR. It's touring car racing, and we're with Hyundai. So that's our car. And Mark, why don't you tell them like basically how the season went and what's been going on?
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, it's been a great season. First year in IMSA competition for the Veloster and TCR. Super, super exciting. Just a great weekend to cap off a great season. And I think if the question is, how did we make it happen? It's all about the people. We just have a great organization. Brian Herta put together a great team. You know, it's just gelled. We've all gelled. We work together. We've always said we're a team of 4 drivers. So a real big shout out to Harry and Mason on a really successful season for them as well. And we just had a riot. We had fun. And I think when you have fun and things are flowing and things are working, that's when good things happen. So here we are, and we can enjoy this for a while, and we can look back on the season and be very proud of the results that we were able to achieve. Absolutely love racing in IMSA competition because just for that reason alone, competition. There are some fantastic teams and drivers in this championship, top level pro people. That's who we want to race. That's who we want to compete against. That's who we want to beat. And there's just no better place to do that than in IMSA.
I think what made us have a very successful year and ultimately be the champions of the Michelin Pilot Challenge Series was great teamwork and a lot of fun. I think I've probably had the most fun I've ever had in my racing career, racing with Tyler here and Steve and the Carbon Audi Peregrine Racing team. The car was fantastic. We enjoyed every single event. We laughed. We basically just had a good time while we were being uber competitive and hated to lose. And I think that's what we share in common, Tyler and I.
Some of the things that helped us win this championship in 2019 were, you know, preparation. You know, that starts with the team, the mechanics. You know, they're looking after the car and just lifing out parts before they have to, and just making sure that we have the best vehicle, the best Audi R8 to go out there and compete with the competition that's here. It's very sharp. Very competitive, but execution at the end of the day is what helped us get this championship, and with that preparation comes execution. And you know, I think Jeff and I work really well together. There was multiple times this year where you kind of have moments where you need to pull back the reins, and then there's times you need to attack. And I think we had that compromise, and we did really well with that. And because of that, we are champions now. You know, for me, IMSA is it's the premier sports car championship here in North America, and that's what I love. And so to be able to compete at this level, compete with these teams, compete with these drivers, it's everything. And to win at this level is even more so. It's so gratifying to win at this level when, you know, you strive to be here and you want to be in this championship, and now we're at the top.
The 2019 IMSA racing season was a true celebration of the 50 years of sports car racing history in North America. Now it's on to season number 51 and 2020. Be sure to stay tuned for all the upcoming episodes of IMSA, The Road to Racing.